At Option Genius, we believe that you deserve freedom, financial freedom, so that you have no more worries and more than enough money. Time freedom, so that you could do what you want, when you want to do it. And choice freedom, to live your life on your terms. But the system and Wall Street are rigged against those little guys. So how do we fight back? Well, my friend, that's what this podcast is all about. My name is Alan Sama, and this is the Option Genius Podcast. I am willing to bet that you did not know that retirement as we know it is a pretty new concept. And by pretty new, I mean about 60 years old or so, somewhere around that range. Because if you're like me, you probably never even thought about it. You probably expected, hey, retirement, that's what people have been striving for generations, right? That's what everybody wants. They want to have a nice, comfortable retirement. And yeah, sure, in our granddaddy's age, retirement wasn't exactly the same. You worked for a company, you worked your whole life, you were loyal, and then at the end, when you were not able to work anymore, the company took care of you and gave you a pension. But you were still able to retire, you're still able to not worry about your finances because the money would just come in as long as you were alive. And then after you died, if you were the main breadwinner, the money would go to your spouse. That's a great system. Yeah, it's not exactly the same anymore, but yeah, now we could do it ourselves, right? And that's what retirement is. Well, in the past, most people lived on farms in little villages. And basically you worked the land or you did your craft. Maybe you made shoes or leather or something like that, or you were a farmer or whatever. And, well, basically you kept working until you died. Now, I'm not talking about the last 40 or 50 years. I'm talking about 100, 200, 300 years ago. That's the way it worked, right? That started to change in Germany, of all places, in 1883. That's when the first inkling of retirement, as we know it, came to be. That is when the Chancellor Otto von Bismarck first came up with a plan to give the people a government-supplied income to those people who were disabled from work by age or invalidity. So maybe they were invalid, they couldn't work, or they were too old to work. It was a big controversial thing back then, still is, actually. But back then it was never heard of, nobody had ever done it before, but, the chancellor was put under a lot of political pressure, so he put it forward. After a lot of political fighting, it took about 8 years to get it through, but they finally passed a law to create a retirement system for citizens over the age of 65. Now, 65 is a very important number because this was back in the 1800s, right? People didn't live to 65 at that time. Life expectancy was way lower than that. So yes, they passed this law that would give people, when they hit 65, free money from the government, but they knew that most people were not going to be able to collect because they wouldn't live that long. So what good did it do? No, well, yeah, it was a political win, saying, oh yeah, look, the government's doing something for you. Woohoo! All you got to do is live. You have to defy the odds. You have to survive until you can collect a measly little pension from the government. That's the way politicians are, right? They tell you they're giving you something, but they're not really. In the U.S., it wasn't until 1935 that FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, created the Social Security Act that gave benefits to workers over the age of 65. Now, there's that number again, 65, right? But this is in 1935, so it was about 50 years after Bismarck and Germany. Unfortunately, life expectancy was still only around 58 at the time. So again, very few people were expected to collect from Social Security, ever. That was the rule. They weren't supposed to collect. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be a thing, a goal, maybe, an ambition, something that they can show to the voters saying, hey, look what we created for you. But don't get it, okay? Because it's going to collapse if too many people get it. But stuff happened. And by 1960, which was 25 years after Social Security was created, life expectancy jumped up to almost 70 years old. So now we have people collecting Social Security in droves, right? So that in 1960 was when the first lucky ones really started to live long enough to stop working and collect retirement benefits. That is when leisure became a pursuit. That's when retirement communities became a thing and golf became available to the masses, right? That's when all of these dreams of golfing in the afternoons and traveling and doing all these things became popular and something to aspire to. I'm talking about 1960. That wasn't that long ago. That's when retirement became a thing. That's when working until age 65 and then having money work for you became a thing. So it's only been a few short decades that Americans have even been looking forward to a rewarding life of fun after a life spent working. Before that, it didn't really happen, right? Now, currently, the Social Security Administration estimates that there's about 47 million retired people in the country. 47 million. How are those people doing? Unfortunately, not too well. The number one fear of people over 50 years of age today is running out of money in retirement. Can you imagine? The number one fear. They're not worried about getting sick. They're not worried about dying. They're not worried about public speaking, for God's sakes. They're worried that their money is not going to last until the end of their retirement. They're going to become destitute. They might lose their house. They're worried that they're going to be a burden on their families or on somebody else. While at the same time, more than half of American families have less than $4,000 set aside for retirement. Less than $4,000. These are current statistics. And thanks to science and healthcare advances, life expectancy continues to advance, which is supposed to be a good thing. But in this case, it's maybe not so good. I myself, I'm planning to live to be at least 100 years old. But I want to be comfortable and safe in my retirement, right? So this is a problem that is getting worse. Most retirees expect Social Security to be there. But the average retiree only gets about $14,000 a year from Social Security. That's living below the poverty line. So, yes, you can collect from Social Security, but you only get about $14,000 on average. That's not going to give you a decent lifestyle, right? Secondly, the Social Security fund itself is in serious trouble because when they created this thing, they did not expect that many people to be taking money from it, right? There's 47 million people retired today in the U.S. That's crazy. They didn't expect that amount, right? Unless the government fixes it soon, the administration has already told us that they're going to have to cut payments to beneficiaries. So whatever they're paying now, if they're paying 14 now, they might have to pay less. 10, 9, 7. I don't know how bad it's going to get. Hopefully they'll fix it soon. I don't know how. That probably means more taxes. Also, yeah, you collect Social Security, but maybe you don't have a choice and you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to keep working past 65. There's no reason that you have to quit at 65, right? You don't have to. Yeah, it'd be nice. But if you can't afford it, well, just keep on working. That's what all these financial planners are telling us today. You know, Susie Orman, she's this wonderful financial planner who tells people that they should be working until age 70. Don't even stop. Don't ever stop. Keep working till you die. That's the best retirement. That's what she says. Well, there's a little problem with that. Most people who want to work past 65, the majority, cannot. They just can't. And there's three main reasons. Number one, health. That's the primary reason for workers retiring early. They just can't do it. Bad backs, bad knees, some other issues, diabetes, arthritis. The list is endless, right? It's not guaranteed that we're going to have good health and we're going to be able to work until the end of our days. So that's number one. Number two, the jobs just aren't there. Age discrimination is a thing, right? I mean, you look at these companies, who would they rather hire? Would they rather hire a 65-year-old employee or would they rather hire a 20-year-old that's cheaper and can probably do the work faster and will probably stick around longer, right? So, I mean, if you were the boss, if you were the employer, who would you pick? I would love to have older people there, but if the younger, cheaper person is more reliable, then as a company, as a business owner, I'd have to go with the younger person. It's just economics, right? Because the business and the employer is going to look out for themselves too. Third, maybe your health is fine. Maybe you're fit. Maybe you took care of yourself through your whole life and you got lucky. You had no issues, no diseases, no nothing, but somebody else in your family does. And so you are required to end up having to take care of a loved one. Maybe a spouse, maybe a child, even a grandchild. Those are the top 3 reasons that people who want to work past 65 are not able to do so. But again, it wasn't always this way. Families used to take care of their own. But thanks to Industrial Revolution, that went away. To keep workers happy, companies had to step in and they created pension plans. Right? We talked about this earlier. The idea was that you work for a company, you stay loyal, and then they take care of you in your old age. And that was great. It worked awesome. Until the companies decided that, we'd rather not do that anymore. Why are we paying for these old people? You know, let's just use that money to pay our bonuses and stuff like that. So new laws and new regulations were passed. Retirement plans like the IRA and the 401ks were created. People were told, hey, instead of letting the company take care of you, why don't you just do it yourself? You'll do better. You'll have a better retirement if you manage your own money and you take care of it yourself. But don't worry, because the experts, the money managers, the financial planners of Wall Street will take care of you. And the age of Wall Street was born. Today, it's not the family's job to take care of the elderly. It's not the company's job, and the government is not up to the challenge. So we're told to rely on Wall Street and our friendly financial planner. Except that he isn't so friendly, is he? Like we discussed in episode 71. So what do we do? Is there anybody that we can trust? In a word, yes. You trust yourself. That's the only person that you should be in trust. That's the only person you can trust because nobody cares about your money more than you. I think I'm going to say that in every episode. Nobody cares about your money more than you. Everybody else is out to get it, right? That's how it works. If somebody wants money, they got to go get it from somebody else. If you got money, people want it from you. So trust yourself. Take responsibility. Take the time. Invest the time to educate yourself. Manage your own money and use Wall Street's tools to do so. The tools are available, right? But don't get suckered by their marketing and their psychological tricks. Use the stock market, use the options market, do it in a way that it can help you achieve the goals that you have. Using a trading philosophy or a strategy that makes sense to you and that works with your trading psychology. Okay? I mean, I am so happy to be able to take the passive trading methodology and the philosophy and put it in a book form so that I can take it to the masses because it's overdue. When I started Option Genius, the company, I wasn't out to write books and courses and teach everybody this stuff. I just wanted one website with a members area where I could share the trades that I was doing. You know, it was something to keep me busy and also a way to help the people that kept asking me for advice and, you know, hey, Alan, what are you doing? Hey, Alan, what are you doing? How come you're doing so well? Can you show me? Can you show me what you're doing? And so I started sharing my trades with people that I knew at first. And then I started advertising a little bit and more people came and became members. And then since then it grew and grew and grew. And I never wanted it to be a full-time thing. I never wanted it to have employees and whatnot. But the need was there. People kept asking, hey, how can I learn more? How can I do this? How do I do this? And every week we get these heartbreaking emails. Oh my goodness, I can't explain how many emails come in and how sad they are. People that are on disability, people that are on Social Security, people that have disabilities that can't work, have no money, don't know what to do. People that are in their 50s that are getting laid off by their companies. You know, they were working 6-figure jobs and they get laid off and now they're trying to get back into the workforce and nobody's going to give them a 6-figure job anymore. You know, it's crazy. when you're, 50 and 60 years old, it's not easy going back to college and relearning everything and updating your skills and all that stuff. It's just not something that we can do, right? I mean, the great American retirement experiment has failed us. And that's what I call it. Because as you can tell from, what I went through, it's not that long ago that we had to not even deal with Wall Street and financial planners and mutual funds. This is all new stuff. These are all like Band-Aids to solve the problem, the Industrial Revolution, right? I mean, you go back 3 generations from us, from you and me, our relatives didn't have to deal with any of this stuff. And so it's all new. Retirement is not an old thing. It's a new thing. And the way that we've been doing it, it's not working. I think the experiment has failed. But we have no other options. So we have to take it upon ourselves. If there are people like me that have been able to do so, then there's hope. There's hope for you. There's hope for everybody else. If one person can do it, people can learn from that person and copy them and do it as well. Everything that I've done is not rocket science, okay? You can do it. The information is out there. The help is out there. It's time to put the odds in your favor. Until next time. All stocks are not created equal. We've analyzed thousands of optionable stocks to find the very best ones to trade options on. Lucky for you, you can just download the list for free. Get it at simonsaysoptions.com/stocks. Again, that's simonsaysoptions.com/stocks.